To someone who has never heard about a lot of things that happen during Halloween, the phrase trick-or-treating could sound a little bit different. It could cause you to scratch your head because the phrase itself almost sounds like a threat. Trick-or-treating are when children dress up in Halloween costumes. They walk around their neighborhood, knock on their neighbors' doors, ask for candy, and this usually happens between 6 to 8 p.m. So as we go through, we will learn more about these three concepts. Children walking through their neighborhoods asking for candy, the costumes, and the hours that this happens. So the first thing we're going to talk about is, what is trick-or-treating? Trick-or-treating occurs on the night of October 31st, and as I mentioned before, it's when children walk through their neighborhoods and ask for candy from their neighbors. According to an article written on howstuffworks.com by Tom Harris, for children, dressing up and trick-or-treating door to door is still the main event. Most households in the US and Canada participate, and those who don't run the risk of petty vandalism. Many adults dress up themselves to go out with their children. So obviously, the part in there about petty vandalism has lessened over time. During the beginning of the traditions of Halloween, it was more about tricks, and now it's more about treats. It's more commercialized with all the candy. So the second thing we're going to talk about is the trick-or-treating costumes. So these costumes are what children dress up in and wear around their neighborhoods to ask for the candy. According to an article posted on parents.com written by Holly Ross on August 25th, 2014, Halloween costumes in America are a way to display creativity and fantasy, with disguises that are hair-raising, cute, royal, cartoonish, magical, realistic, and more. So you can think about something in each of those categories. It's easy to think of superheroes and princesses and all kinds of different things. It all depends on what the family or the kids are into at that time. Obviously, many families purchase their Halloween costumes through the many stores that pop up around the fall time here. But also, some families choose to make their own Halloween costumes, whether it be help from Pinterest or YouTube or even their own creativity. Again, like the quote says, it displays creativity. So the third thing we're going to talk about is the trick-or-treat time. Obviously, it's a nighttime tradition that we've continued from the historical backgrounds. Typically, trick-or-treating happens between 6 to 8 p.m. And according to an article on history.com, it explains the history of why we celebrate at night. Celts believe that on the night before New Year's, which they celebrated on November 1st, the boundary between the worlds of the living and the dead became blurred. So obviously this is the start of the reason why we celebrate Halloween at night. But as time went on, they refined the hours to between 6 to 8 p.m. 6, it's late enough to where the sun is going down. You can see things like jack-o'-lanterns or light up costumes or the decorations outside. But it also goes until 8, so that's not late enough to disturb neighbors anymore, or if Halloween happens to land on a school night, the kids aren't disturbing their neighbors either. So that's why it's between 6 to 8 p.m. So to conclude, trick-or-treating is when children dress up, walk around their neighborhoods asking for candy. They do this costumed, and they do it between the hours of 6 to 8 p.m. So now you know a little bit more about Halloween, and it's a timely lesson since Halloween is only a month away.